This is a story about a different queen. So the Queen of England is walking towards me, and I'm conflicted. I've been told very clearly, don't stare at her, don't approach her, and certainly don't talk to her. But I have other ideas. And to understand why, let's zoom out and examine the journeys that brought Her Majesty and myself to this moment. The Queen was chauffeured in a limousine and then escorted down corridors smelling of fresh paint and lined with sweaty-palmed journalists at the new headquarters of the BBC in London. I was one of those journalists. My journey had started 6 days before in Los Angeles, California. Although in some ways you could say it started 6 years before. You see, that's when I was posted to the US as a foreign correspondent for the BBC, based on the West Coast, but reporting all the way from Alaska down to South America. And I'd come from being a beat reporter in the UK and all that entails. Endless freezing live shots in the rain in August. Someone's sweaty armpit in your face on the tube, and very different stories. I once covered a court case about an overweight dog. So this was incredibly exciting. And in those 6 years, I fell in love with America. And I fell in love in America. And so there I was, blissed out, shacked up, sipping on oaky Chardonnay, nibbling on In-N-Out burger in the palm-lined sunshine of Los Angeles, California. I couldn't imagine going back. Until one day, BBC headquarters phones up. Hello, old chap. We know you've been having a jolly good wheeze with all those Yanks, but you can't stay. We've a cosy corner for you here back at HQ in London. But my American partner won't be able to work in the UK, I try. Not really our problem, old bean. We didn't pay for you to go and get all loved up, did we? But I like it here. Well, you could go freelance. You could give up your permanent position where you'd freeze your retirement, you'd lose your benefits, and you'd lose your work visa, and of course we'd never hire you again anyway. Shall I put the kettle on? And that is why, shortly afterwards, heartsick and alone, I board that 12-hour flight to London, back to the life I thought I'd left behind. Damp apartments, low water pressure, someone's sweaty armpit in your face on the tube, and the new BBC building, the newsroom in the pit of the basement where sunlight can't penetrate, a sweatshop of headlines. People I've known over the years loom up out of the gloom, blinking like moles. All right, mate, haven't seen you in a while. You've been on night shifts. I channel the taste memory of In-N-Out burger, and I tell myself, I have to make a mark here. I've got to get noticed. I've got to get the bosses to see that there's more in me. Otherwise, I'll just get swallowed up by the machine, and the last 6 years will count for nothing. So when they announced that the Queen is coming to inaugurate the new building in a couple of days, I sense an opportunity to get noticed. Now, everyone who grew up in the UK clings to any link to royalty. That limo may once have whizzed down your street. You may have just glimpsed that white-gloved hand, but that will be a defining moment in your life post-fact, and you will tell that story forever. So, I figure out her route around the newsroom, and I hatch a plan so bold, so shocking, so unthinkable within the walls of the BBC that it's bound to get me noticed. And on the day, I'm ready. Her Majesty arrives, dressed in bright blue, hat, coat, handbag. She's gliding around with a phalanx of senior management, all eyeing us warily. We've all been told, get on with your jobs, don't crowd around. You're right. Yeah. We're like meerkats. Or flocks of birds swooping in pursuit. And there am I, in a corridor, wedged up against a desk, on the route, prime position. The royal party swings around towards me. The head of news sees me. For a moment, she looks puzzled. who are you again? And then in her eyes, a warning, don't break the protocol. The Queen is just yards away now. I sense this is my moment. I step forwards into plain sight. The Queen pauses, handbags swinging ever so slightly. The head of news has a look of growing alarm. There's no going back now, I tell myself. It's now or never. If this transatlantic move, if this forced reinvention is to mean anything, it has to start now. So I summon up all my courage and I look directly into the eyes of Her Sovereign Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, the living embodiment of the crown. And I say, "Good morning, Your Majesty." Wait, no. You don't get it. You don't understand. There are gasps. The whole newsroom stops and stares at me. I have shattered protocol. I've made a mark. In this moment, the Queen of England sees me. She'll remember me. Maybe she even senses the anguish that I'm feeling the last 6 years, my heart left in California, the significance of this moment. She gets it. The Queen is unflinching, handbag still. She looks at me. She looks into me. She looks through me. And she says, "Nothing." She raises an eyebrow to the head of news and they both keep moving. I shrink into the corner. The blue hem of her coat passes me by and the Queen of England is gone. It doesn't take me long to realize that I didn't know what I was hoping she would say to me that day, beyond something like, "Yes, it is a good morning, isn't it? Now fuck off." And actually that would have been a better story, right? And it would have ended there, but no. I also didn't know how breaking royal protocol in the inner sanctum of the BBC was going to translate into better opportunities. Far from it. It was an act of desperation. And that's when I realized that the Queen of England has nothing to do with me making the best of what is a new adventure back in the UK. My bosses don't have anything to do with that either. That's all about me charting my own path. And pretty soon after, that path led me out of the BBC. It led me out of journalism, back to America, back to the partner I left behind. And it brought me a better outlook and a whole world of new adventures. And also gave me a story that, like I said, I will tell forever. Thank you.